need spooky lighting without setting the house on fire? Let's get that laser set up and we'll get something put together that is safer than a jack-o'-lantern and twice as cool. This layered lantern is a nice, easy, quick project that'll definitely increase your Halloween spook factor. This lantern is made from using 1/8 inch plywood, craft plywood that everybody uses. You can find from Amazon or Michael's or any of those craft shops. You can also use acrylic if you have a diode laser and you would like to. And what I did was I cut all these pieces out and then I spray painted it. If I were to do this again, I would probably spray paint the panels first and then cut. So let me show you how I set it up in LightBurn. It is a little bit more of a complicated design since it is using 2 boxes from the MakerCase website, but they make it super easy. And then once you have this basic design down, you can change the internal panels as much as you want.
To make the Halloween lantern, we're basically going to start with 2 different shapes. I'm going to go to MakerCase like I've done before. Now, like I've said in previous videos, MakerCase is a great resource for you. So this is definitely a website you will want to bookmark if you're going to be making a lot of laser boxes. It takes really all the guesswork out of the calculations of how to put everything together, and they're constantly adding more and more features. So if you do have a laser or a 3D printer, I do highly recommend that you bookmark this and even think about subscribing to their Pro Edition, which allows you to create all of these great boxes and resources. So I do have the Pro account. I think it's $10 per year, which is very affordable. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a box that has a slide to it. We are actually going to flip this box upside down, and we're going to use this slide as basically like a trap door. So when you click on this and open it up, we'll be able to put our little tea light or votive or any sort of LED battery operated light to illuminate our lantern. The dimensions that I'm going to want on this is 4 by 6 by 4. And again, like I said, we are going to zoom this out a little bit. Just think of this as being upside down. They don't let you rotate all the way around. I'm not sure why, but this will just be our little trapdoor to hold our light source. I will want these fingers to be a little larger. That should be good right there. So we'll download this, and again, we do not need the labels, and I like the fact that they allow you to disable this. We will just download that. And then we'll go back to MakerCase because there's one more object from here that we will need, and this is going to be the top of our lantern. So for this, we're going to go 2 by 2 by 2. This just gives us a nice box. We do want the finger joints, and we do want this to be closed. We won't be using the lid or the bottom, but I still want it generated here just so these fingers are here, and you'll see why in the next steps. And actually, height is 2 1/8. So we'll download this box. Again, disabling the labels, and you could change the label color, the cut compensation, and the layout however you want. We will download this. With that downloaded, we can swing right over to Canva. Again, I have the Pro account, and if you're going to be making a lot of these designs, it may be worth it to opt for. I am going to just search quickly to see what kind of accents I want on all 4 sides. So again, these can be pretty much any size you want because we can resize these in LightBurn. We do want 4 designs for the top, which will be a 2 by 2, and then 4 designs for the sides. We just want to take a few different options here. And again, we can resize these once we get into our software, but we want to make sure we take enough that we will be able to modify them as needed. Okay, so we have some trees, we have the witch, we have the house. Let's see what other haunting stuff we can get. Well, this one's pretty neat. Did we click on that? Yep. Okay, we'll click on this one. Okay, I think that's enough of those. Let's see what other elements we can put on the top. Pumpkin, we have the hat, bat icon, and we do just want the graphics. Maybe a spider, maybe the hand. Let's see how this one works. Let's try to take one more design. Okay, I think that is enough for our lantern. So I am going to just download this as an SVG. I can do that because I have the Pro account. If not, you can download it as a PNG, and that should be just as good. With all of our elements downloaded, let's go into LightBurn and and start making our adjustments. And actually, I'm going to adjust my settings, and we're going to see, and let me know in the comments below. I'm going to use the dark background, and we're going to see how this shows up. Because sometimes if you're watching the tutorials on a television or a larger monitor, sometimes with the white background, I've heard that it is harder to see. So let me know in the comments below if editing on the darker background is beneficial or no different. So now I'm just going to drag and drop in all of my elements. So I have my box with the sliding door, and then I will also have my 2x2 top. And the only two pieces that I'm gonna really have to build are the lids and the bottom base, because I'm gonna want those a little bit bigger just to add some additional flair. And now I will drag in my photos, and these are the photos that I'm going to have to edit and manipulate so that everything will work out correctly. So I'm going to want to ungroup these photos real quick, and it looks like there was just one that didn't come through, which is fine. The first thing we want to do is focus on our box. Like I said, this box will be flipped. So to make this easier on the view, we're just going to flip that here. We have our three sides and our front with our drawer. And when you import these in, you're just going to want to go through and group all of these little fingers and joints. So I'm just selecting. Now if you click and drag from the right to the left, it will actually create a green box, and then everything that you select will be selected. Whereas if you select and go from the left to the right, and let's say I just select this, see, nothing really selects because you have to encapsulate everything. With the green, you just have to touch it. So I'm going to hit Control G to group, and then these should all be grouped. Now if I move them around, it's okay. They won't really get too messed up. So for our inner shape, we are going to want to click over here, which is our rectangle tool, and the box was 4x6, so I want my inner cut boxes to be 3x5, and I am going to need multiples of these. So Control duplicate, and then that will make all of these boxes for us. And what I could do too is if you click here and drag down, you can give yourself a nice little alignment tool. And then when you select, and you can select that alignment tool, and then you can just align that to the top, and this way that all of our boxes will be aligned correctly. We do want to just right click and lock that alignment box so that box doesn't move itself. And then what we want to do as well is we want to hit the box and then hit the inner box and just move that over a bit, so then it would be centered in place. Control D duplicates, holding shift we can move it over, and then again, we just will align that. Control D duplicate, Control duplicate, holding shift, center align. And now this alignment line we do no longer need, so we will unlock that and then delete it. This is basically each panel, and we'll build each panel out individually. We will move our first item to our first panel, and we can just increase this a bit. All right, so now with our first item in line, we want to select both items and just do the Boolean subtract. And this gives us a nice outline, and it is large enough now too where when we have the tea light in there, it will disperse the light just the way we want it. Okay, so let's move to our next item. Let's grab just this piece. We'll just move this over a little bit just so it's closer to where we're working. This lid we don't have to worry about just yet, and actually these pieces either. So we'll just move these up and out of the way for now because we are just working on the panels. There is one panel down, and we'll just group these together so when we do move these, everything moves correctly. For our next panel, let's work on this one here. Don't really want these bats, so we'll delete these. So let's group these together. So we're just going to want to hold shift, and we're just going to group all of these pieces together. And I'm just moving these to the cut layer. Now I'm not going to group the pumpkins to the tree just yet because I want these to be in line before I start adjusting them. And what I'll do is I'll put these on this shelf or this layer too, because When I do make this larger, it will make this ground or this bottom layer a little thicker, so that'll be nice. Let's see, so we can skew this a little bit. Don't want to do that too much, but just a little bit is okay. We'll select the outer layer, we'll select our tree, and we will go to the Boolean subtract. Now our tree is perfect, it has nice form up here, but we still have our pumpkins to consider. So what I'll do right now is I'm going to group the face and the features together just so when I adjust them, they just correct together. So I'm just going to take these two pumpkins and I'm going to move them over a little bit and I'm going to make them a little bit bigger, a little bit exaggerated, but I still want to keep in line with the tree. Okay, I think that looks perfect. So what I will do first is I am going to do a Boolean subtract of these. That groups him together, and then I think what I'll do is I'll move him up a little bit just so we don't get the mouth issue in there, and then we'll do the Boolean subtract of that. But before I do that, I'm going to, let's see, who do we want in front? We'll do the big guy in front. So I'll duplicate him, and then I'll click on him. Click on him. Now I'll do the Boolean subtract. Now you see how I got rid of right there? Well, that's because there's another layer right here. And if I click on him, kind of illuminates a little bit. And what I'm going to want to do is put him on a engrave layer. Now the only thing I really want to engrave is the pieces we can see that are clear in blue. It's actually all the way around. So if I unshow this, you can see this laser will etch the entire pumpkin, but we don't want that because it's just wasted travel space. So what I can do is if I select him, I can ungroup him. So now he's ungrouped. And I can take these little scissors. Now, you don't want to use these scissors a lot, but in this instance, where we're going to eliminate the need for some travel of the laser, it is a good idea. But it makes it difficult to work with the objects because LightBurn, I've found, they like objects that are complete. So when you have an incomplete object, it causes a little bit of issues. So you won't be able to group this later. So I'm going to unshow this just so I can go through and delete everything that I don't need. And if you're not sure exactly what I'm talking about, it should make sense as soon as I turn this layer back on. See, there's no pumpkin here because this pumpkin is going to be cut out, but then I can go back and etch the rest or the missing piece of that pumpkin. Now, you could do it for pieces up here, but I just want to do it for anything that's basically within this panel. And actually, I guess I should have done it with this bottom pumpkin down here. So in order to replicate that, we can do Control-Z quite a few times. Okay, so what we can do is we can do Control Duplicate, put that on blue, move this guy up and over, Control Duplicate, put him on blue, and now I'll just go through and clean this back up.
A few moments later.
So now that we're back, we have our pumpkin. Now, like I said, I'm not going to do that for the tree or for the witch. It was just these inner items. And you can do that pretty much with any other layout that you see or like. So let's take this guy here, put him on layer 1, make this guy a little bit bigger, and holding shift, let's move this over a little bit. Boolean subtract. Okay, we got our girl, we got our bat, got a lot of little pieces here. I think that actually looks pretty good. Little hang-ons up there. Yeah, that should be good. Now we only need one more item. Let's try this one here. Get rid of the moon. And what we could do too is we could just unshow the moon color. Okay, so we'll make this larger, move this over a bit. And what's nice too is these items aren't all connected. So if I just group this together and we select this and the building, we should be able to, wait, that moved the wrong thing. So let's lock this down and try that again. So if we select all of our windows and our building, center that, perfect. Now all these windows in the building, we're gonna ungroup this real quick. We just wanna put this all on a cut layer, and then the doors we're gonna put on an engrave layer because I feel like that would be too much to cut out. And then our trees, we can make our trees a little bit bigger, move those over a bit, and then the same same with this tree. Now this tree is actually the very exact same tree that's on the other side. So what I'll do is I'll just rotate that. Actually, no, I'll rotate that back. That looks better as that way. I'll just move this over a little bit. And then what I will want to do is just hit duplicate that on an engrave layer, control duplicate, put that on an engrave layer, and I'll hide this engrave layer for a moment. And then I will just group these two together, group these two together, and then holding the outer side, we're going to unlock this shape, and then we will do the Boolean subtract. And then if I show the trees, now I can go back for just the tree and I can cut this apart. So what I really just want is anywhere this tree intersects the house. And again, you may have to go a little farther up than you want just to keep that little piece. So we'll keep all of that. And anywhere it's going to be cut, we obviously don't need it to be engraved. Okay, we're going to have to keep that travel. Let's see. And that's pretty much it. So now if I select this, I delete it, and I should be able to delete just the pieces that will be cut. Okay, so now we could do the same with this side over here.
A few moments later.
Okay, so that is our 4 sides of our lantern. And now that those are done, we can group these together so nothing happens to them when we move them around and shuffle them around a bit. We just want to make sure everything stays together. Okay, so let's make the top and bottom of our little box here. So we want to keep these fairly generic and not that complicated. So we have our bat, it's centered, group this together, group that together. Let's see if we group this guy together, we put them in the center, and then holding control, we should be able to get him a little farther down. So now we ungroup. Put this on an engrave layer because we want just the eyes to cut out. What we'll do is we'll just grab this pumpkin here, weld that together. Actually, let's ungroup this guy. We will just take this outside piece, delete that, center these together, hold command or control. Okay, let's group this together, group this guy together. All right, we are rocking and rolling. So let's get rid of all of these elements we do not need, and we can start piecing everything together. So far we have our 4 sides, we have the 4 pieces to our top. These are exactly the same, so I'm going to want to duplicate that, and then what we'll do is we will move our little piece here, and we will center this, and we will draw a box around it. Okay, so this should be able to be a 2 by 2. Now if I select everything and center everything, what I can do is if I select these 2, we can go to the assistant for this, subtract B from A, and this will give us the perfect assignment for those tabs. So now these tabs will sit right into that top. And then basically I just want to do the exact same for a top. So the very top box lid will be a 3 by 3. So let's just make that box right now. So we go 3 by 3, select this box, center the 2, and then we'll make a 2 by 2. We select all 3 of these, center these, select these 2, and then we are going to want to do the subtraction. Click OK. So then we will not need this top or that bottom because we'll just use these 2 pieces that we just created with the box that was already figured out. So there's no math, no figuring out where those spaces will go. Everything will just automatically align. We are almost done. The only thing left to do is to build the bottom. Now this is the drawer that will fit into this piece here that our tea lights will go into. We're going to want a piece that is 5 by 5, 5 by 5, and then we will group that in the center there. So let's duplicate this and we'll move this one out of the way. So that is our drawer, and this will be our inner drawer. So let's let's just make a modification here. Don't need those tabs. So what is this? 3 3/4. So let's make this on the inward offset, and we'll delete that. 1/4 inch should be more than enough to fit our hand in for that votive or tea light. Okay, so we'll group this together now. Now let us cut a hole in here. Let's make this 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. Or group these together. Delete that, escape, and we will just center everything. And we'll group this together. So this is our top lid, but we do want a little bit of light to get through so we can illuminate our 2x2. And then for this piece here, this is the very top. We just want to put a piece that is 0.118 by 3/4. Let's center that, and then we will control duplicate this, draw this up a little bit, and then make a circle, center these two together, and then that will be our little tag that we can hang that up by a string or something. So that is all of our pieces. The last thing I like to do is align that on a board that is 11 3/4 by 11 3/4, and that's the size of the wood that I usually use. I go by 12 by 12, but I never like to really cut on the very edges. So I'm just going to align everything on an 11 by 3/4 by 11 by 3/4 blank to see how many sheets this build requires. And where I have my honeycomb, I have it set up where if I have the piece one box out, one box up, that is perfect for where my plywood is situated on my machine.
A few moments later.
I have everything laid out as close together as I can, so I can eliminate as much waste as I can. The only other thing I like to do is I found it easier than dealing with a whole bunch of random pieces in my shop. I try to actually cut where the waste will be, so I don't have all these ragged offshoots, and it just makes me feel a little bit better. So I'm just going to line these all up right now, and I'll show you what I mean when I get over to the laser. This is just our little tag. This will be our engrave, so we want to make this 3000 by 50. This will be our cut, so we'll make this 250 by 100%, and then this we will not output, but the only thing is we will output that to make sure everything is aligned correctly. So we will save this and we will cut this file out and see what we're working with.
Now that all of our pieces are painted, we can do the assembly. Now the assembly is very straightforward. Just use this CA fixed super glue. We'll start with the top box, and these will just all go straight together. And then we should be able to just drop this right on the top there. So what I like to do is I take this little pipe bit and I just squeeze that in all of those corners from the inside, and that is that. Next we have is our top. See how nicely that fits together. We'll just flip that over. Again, just all these corners. And you can paint these however you like, but there we go. So now while that's drying, I'll put that off to the side, and then we will start assembling our box. Okay, so it looks like these two frames. Okay, now all we can do is put the top on. Attach this. Okay, now the final touch, and there you have it. So we have a way to put our light in the bottom, and then a way to seal that light closed. All right, there it is. Simple layers, simple cuts, great design. And like I said, you can customize this now since you have the basic setup with whatever elements you prefer. You can customize it with names, with dates, house numbers if you want. You can set up your house numbers on little lanterns. The sky is the limit for the customization that's available to you with this lantern now. As always, I will offer this design for free only for a limited time. So if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so now so you know when those videos are coming out, so you know what designs will be out there. And also go over and sign up for the newsletter. I don't spam your inbox every day, but I do send weekly designs. And those weekly designs are the designs that are free. Just sign up, and now that we're building a bit of a library for these holiday designs starting with October and Halloween, the catalog will be growing exponentially as we get closer to Christmas. Keep that in mind for all of your upcoming craft shows. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. And if you do download this design and you have a YouTube channel and you are going to make this, or if you have Instagram, tag me at Wilmer Woodworks just so I can see what you're building and who's actually benefiting from my design. Until next time, my name is Steve, and I do appreciate everybody watching, subscribing, liking, and commenting. All these interactions do play well with the algorithm, and it gives my videos the chance to be put in front of other people. So I do appreciate all of you. Thank you. This layered materials, mainly most. So let's. What are you doing?
Love you.